Welcome back, adventurers. I think you all know exactly where we left off, but one of our players actually had a bit of a memory lapse. Not Vin, surprisingly, so let's recap, shall we? Quick recap, you were headed back to, or back in the direction, rather, of the Wizards of Wine's winery to Rick Tavio's hut/tower. It is somewhere in between. And on your way there, you were accosted by a group of, I believe it was 4 of them, 4 very filthy barbarians and a druid. And you made very quick work of slaughtering each of them. And after Kelvin performed his rites on one of the corpses, the full moon was suddenly revealed behind the parting clouds, and he failed a Constitution saving throw despite a spectacularly high roll of a natural 19. But a 20 total was not enough to save him, and the beast within was unleashed. And we begin tonight at the end of that werewolf's turn, the end of that transformation. Kaidos, you have the option of saying whether or not you actually fell off the wagon when this happened.
Oh, no lie, I fell off the back of that wagon. I'm
All
like
right.
having to pick myself up and dust off and be like, what the? What is
All right.
going? Didn't we hear some eerie laughter? Wasn't that a thing? Right before he changed, right before the moon was. Wasn't there something in the air that we heard right before the clouds parted or something like that?
Aside from the rites that he performed on the corpse, no. The moon was spectacularly large. That was pretty. That might be what you're remembering.
You may be confusing DM laugh for in-game laugh.
there it is.
There's that. I'm guilty. But yeah. All right. So half your movement, we'll say, to get up from prone after falling. But yeah, you've got your turn. What would you like to do?
I peek over the wagon and I stare at this monster.
Big, slavering, angry werewolf where Kelvin was standing. As you're looking at him, make a perception check.
Okay, I am perceiving things. There it is. Okay. Normal?
Yeah, that's fine. Your the shock of this has completely obliterated your hangover. The adrenaline pumping through your system. You are no longer hungover at this point. And with your perception check, it's pretty easy to notice a few things. His clothes have obviously ripped and torn. The buckles of his armor have kind of split and fallen away from him. He's kind of just got like the Hulk tattered loincloth thing going on. But most notably is kind of like you see in his portrait down there. There's a very distinct, like earthworm-looking scar that's on the top of his head. And you can see that ever so slightly. But you cannot see the flesh of the scar itself. You can see where it would part the fur on this wolf's head. So it's unmistakably your paladin.
Yeesh.
Go ahead.
All right, so I don't really want to break the tension here.
No, go for it.
But I have to do this one. So you're saying the best hangover cure here is the hair of the dog.
Remains to be seen if Kaidos is the one that gets bit.
Well, no, it cured his hangover.
I mean, yeah. Well
Am I supposed
struck,
to recognize that shape, that design, that pattern?
As far as the pattern itself, no. You just recognize it as like that's a very distinct scar that Kelvin had on his head.
Oh, okay. So I knew he had that on his head already.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah, you can see it in the portrait.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ah.
So it's just like
okay.
it's kind of like the scars on his face. Just this one is this big. It looks like an earthworm almost that like coils around his head. Just the path it's very S and windy, has a very specific shape, and so you remember what that looked like on his self. And as you're peeking over with that perception check, right on the money, might I note, you do note that like there's a line that starts just over his left eye, and it's dips and swirls and even goes back and curls over one ear on one side, and it just ever so slightly parts the fur there, like the fur won't lay flat.
All right. Well, I am not doing anything other than staring
Okay.
at Kelvin and trying to get a grasp on what's happening here.
For sure.
Because I'm racking my brain. Why on earth would he be changing into a werewolf? When did he get bit? He never got bit. I don't remember him getting bit.
Right.
What's going on?
For sure. Okay. I will say that that since you moved, technically that took part of your turn. But since you're just watching, that's cool. We'll move to Dee's turn. Dee is actually pretty quick on the action. She hops out of the driver's seat and hops down and draws her halberd and just very stoutly gets into the fighting stance. She seems to be holding her action. Rictavio steps down, and with a wave of his hand, the phantom steeds just kind of dissipate. Boop, boop. And he'll step down from the wagon and step up behind Dee and draw his sword from his sword cane. And he appears to be holding his action as well, just very slowly working their way toward the werewolf, on their turns. That is it for them. Artesia, to you. You have big ol' werewolf next to you. See, it still seems to be kind of bent over and recovering from this physical torture it just went through, essentially.
Yeah. I'm going to put my hand next to my face and do the John Cena, you can't see this, and cast blur on myself.
Okay.
And so all creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against me. And I am actually going to be backing up.
It's an action to cast blur, or is that a bonus action?
It's an action.
Okay. So you will provoke an attack of opportunity.
I figured, but he has a disadvantage, I think.
Correct. Yes, he does.
Yeah, disadvantage.
18 on one and an 11 on the other, so that's a good thing. What's your AC right now?
15, because I still have my magic mage armor onto me.
You popped mage armor right when the barbarian showed up. That's definitely still up. What's your strength score already though, Kelvin? Is it 18?
It's a +3 right now.
Oh, it's a +3.
16.
Okay.
Yep.
Surprisingly, becoming a werewolf only buffs your strength to a 15 if it is not there already. Just a little meta knowledge right there.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is. So your normal attack roll then, Kelvin, what is that statistic? Because it's going to be a little higher than our werewolf buddy. I got your character sheet I could pull up, but...
Well, I mean, it would be proficiency plus strength plus roll. So it'd be 3 + 3 plus the roll.
Yep, so 17, that's a hit. I'm going to have to use Kelvin's character sheet for this, because at least for attack rolls, his is more accurate than the werewolf character sheet for the time being.
Okay, once I get the damage, I do say I'm going to cast Hellish Rebuke.
Okay. Let me get you your damage real quick.
Yeah.
And
Is that a reaction?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I hate
no,
the smell of
Kelvin,
burnt
we will
fur.
not need that. That won't
hate the
translate in
smell
this
of
form,
burnt fur.
unfortunately. And that is claws. Let's see. There it is. Okay. 4 piercing damage. Sorry that took so long. Sorry, my eyes are darting around the screen at all these different words. I get a little mixed
That's
up
okay.
sometimes.
On Hellish Rebuke, the creature must make a dexterity saving throw.
It's not a d6, it's 2d4. Yes, dexterity saving throw, however.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's going to actually be the same. What's the DC? Ooh, okay.
15.
He does not make his saving throw.
Yes. 2d10 fire damage.
He's our
Okay.
friend! Wait!
Not right now, he isn't.
Kelvin, I'm altering your hit points on your character sheet for your current max, if you'd be so kind as to track those.
Sure.
Thank you.
He takes 8 fire damage.
8 fire
Okay.
damage. Okay. That's magic
And
damage.
that's my turn.
And yeah, and I'll let you know if it's halved or anything like that. All right.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for Artesia. Vin.
Kelvin, why did you not say you were bitten?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Did you see just growls and shit, I assume?
Pretty much, but at first contact, Kelvin, make a wisdom saving throw, please. No auras, just your base scores. Holy
Whoa.
shit!
How's that?
Natural 20 out of the gate. Okay.
Rigged dice.
Wow, my brain is like, what? Okay, how do I process this?
No, that's his brain.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll tell you what happens internally on your turn. Vin, what you see is Kelvin's... the werewolf's eyes turn and look at you. And for a fraction of a moment, a fraction of your turn, you see the gold, that golden yellow wolf eye, that color recede a little bit, and Kelvin's emerald green is just there beneath it.
Don't attack me, my friend. You can control this. And she's gonna hold her attack.
Okay. All right. Kelvin, on your turn. After just feeling the immense racking pain, as you can imagine, all of the shifting and growing your body suddenly did, basically both you and this other mind that you feel within you are in this kind of same, like two boxers that have thrown a haymaker at each other and just both landed it. So you both kind of have this stunned, what is going on feeling. But with your wisdom save, you momentarily have control. You have a single turn. And while you're not explicitly, you're kind of in shock. You've just gone through something incredibly traumatic. So while you're not explicitly in... how do I say? While you're not explicitly understanding what's going on, you are in control of yourself for this turn. What would you like to do?
All right. Is my equipment all merged with me, or is there some weapons or anything like that on the ground, anything like that?
Almost everything, yeah, everything is on the ground except for your trousers kind of thing. Like trousers, a little bit of scraps of your under armor shirt thing.
All right.
But yeah, the axe is behind you on the ground with the hood on it.
I will take the axe and run.
All right. Which direction would you like to run?
Towards the tree line after the druids.
Okay.
The ones that ran.
Gotcha.
With intent of being like, no, this is me with my axe, and I'm going that way.
Gotcha. All right. So the werewolf, in hybridized form up on its hind legs, very much how I picture werewolves is very much kind of how they have them depicted in the book, just a little bit bigger. But if you ever saw the movie Van Helsing, those werewolves were fucking perfect in my opinion. Without barring the blood infection being the reason for it, I think it's different.
Right.
Regardless of that, that's about what you see, and he turns around and scoops up this axe and goes sprinting into the woods and makes it... Let me double check movement. Speed. Oh, it'll be the same. It'd actually be the same in hybrid form. So you bend down and you run. You can make it 60 feet with the dash action and then your move action.
Shit.
So for... Let's see.
Zoom out.
Kind of.
Dang.
Let's see. What do we got here?
Oh, your map ain't big enough, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to stretch it.
Okay, so you said 60 feet of movement?
Mm-hmm. And then at the end of your turn, I need you to make another wisdom saving throw.
Oh, and I want to say the fear on the guys that I scared away probably wore off by now. So if they were inclined to come back this way, they're in for a rude awakening.
You're absolutely
Just
right.
as a point of reference.
Interestingly enough, before your wisdom, just on that point, since your mind wandered that way, we'll say Kelvin's kind of did as well. Like, oh, they're gonna get it. Make a perception check with advantage.
All right. Let's see. Perception check. I rolled that twice.
Jeez.
23 to start and a 10. Nice. Plus a little secret bonus from the werewolfism. Yeah, not only can you smell them and kind of like see the scent trail they've left running off. I mean, they were bleeding and afraid. See the scent trail that they left running through the trees, but you can hear them about a 3/4 of a mile off, still running to the southwest away from you.
Oh yeah, he's locked in on that trail. Like that is the new plan.
All right. And that will do it for your turn. Oh yes, your I forgot your wisdom saving throw at the end of your turn. Nice. 16 is not quite enough. However, you pull a Eddie Brock and Venom kind of thing for a moment, and the two of you merge in your mind as you join in this singular purpose. You for the headsman's hunt, as that you know so well and have been raised into, and the wolf simply for the hunt. And you are off. To Kaidos, you see this as your friend Null, wolfified, turns around, picks up his axe, and bolts into the woods.
Now that I see him grab an axe and run off to the woods, I climb back up on top of the wagon.
Okay.
And I sit there and watch.
All right.
I'm like, hey, if the dude's going to run off in the woods, maybe he'll just change back after a few minutes and leave us alone. So I'm just going to give him his space and just chill out up here on top of the wagon, less reachable. Or at least I can kick him in the head if he comes back too soon.
Sure. All right.
You do you, wolf dude.
Right? Just let the man be. He's obviously under some tremendous stress right now. If I had a keg of beer, I would just go put it at the edge of the forest and run back to the thing.
Awesome. All right. Well, Kaidos climbs back on top of the wagon and settles in for a moment. D visibly looks to Rictavio, looks at Kaidos, and then just kind of slouches and goes limp a little bit and let the battle stance falls and looks at Rictavio and is like, dude, what do we do? Rictavio just looks back at her like, look at me, I can't run. I'm like 97.
I look over to Rictavio and ask, can you put him to sleep if we bring him back?
That much I can do.
I think Ven will already be. Ven held her turn less.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to run off after him.
Oh, as soon as he took off? Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
You are hot on his tail and will be... Because you can move... Your movement's 30, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't have to worry about half movement in the forest.
Okay, yeah.
I run my full.
You are... Because the two of you are next to each other, let's see, that's going to put your initiative right under his since you held your action.
Yep.
So yeah, you are... I apologize, I got to talking and...
It's okay.
You didn't have a chance to interject. But yeah, you are neck and neck with this beast as he runs off. That could change some things. Artesia, you ask if he can... when you ask if he can put someone to sleep, he's like, I can definitely manage... Well, I can't do it myself, but I know someone who can. And he waves his hand in front of him and his eyes glow for a second. And he speaks in that language you've heard before. It sounds like bells almost as it comes out of his mouth. You're not sure how he does that. And then the spell ends. You do hear him say the say the words in English, in common rather, in between these strange bell tone words. He says the phrase, "Come quick, just past the crossing." Let me see. I gotta count. Hold on.
Bless you.
I think I have three or four more. Yeah. Bring your magic, is what he says. And then he waves his hand back in the opposite direction, and the bell tones come out of his mouth again, and the spell stops, and that's it for him. So, Artesia, to you, it is your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna go movement here.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to make him out, or like where the trees are rustling, or would I be from here? Would I be able to see?
It would be a disadvantage perception check.
Okay, I'm just trying to cast a spell.
Which one are you aiming for? Is it an area effect or?
No, it's gonna be firebolt.
Okay.
And I want to do it, but I also want to yell like, "Come back here, you hairy bastard!" As I do it to try and make him angry enough to come back here, so we can try and put him to sleep.
Okay. Since it's a...
Wait, said that.
Basically, he has total cover with the amount of trees behind it, or between you and him at the moment. You can make out where he is, especially because Vin took off in the exact same direction, and you've gotten used to following her in the forest. But it'll still be a attack roll with disadvantage to hit him with that. But you can definitely see where he is enough to try it.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
All right.
Let's see. Oh, it was an 18.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't suppose a 16 will work.
Actually, werewolf's AC, I believe, is right at a 15. I apologize, it's even lower than that. That's definitely a hit.
Okay. So yeah, I toss a firebolt out there and I say, "Come back here, you big hairy bastard! I'm not done with you yet!" And I do 10 damage.
Alright, 10 fire damage.
And I go to Rictavio and I go, "You better be ready." And I kind of steel myself.
Rictavio just kind of looks at you and shrugs, and he's like, "I'll do what I can." Like, I don't know the spell, but I called for the person who did. And like, as he's saying that, his eyes kind of glow again, and he seems to be hearing something. And he at least says, "Well, they're on their way." All right, and is that it for your turn?
Yeah, that's it for my turn. I don't know what else to do.
Okay. The start of this turn. Again, interesting to parse. Kelvin, as you and the wolf have this singular mind to go take off after these barbarians, as you start to bank to the southwest and follow that trail exactly as you see it, or smell it, you should say, your eyes finally notice this drow running next to you, this target running next to you, and I need you to make a wisdom save to see if the wolf lashes out at her, or if you are able to contain that.
Shit.
Ow.
Far
That
more
hurt
advantageous.
me, and I'm on the wagon. Ow.
Oh yes, the start of your turn also, Kelvin, I need you to regain 7 hit points as some of your wounds close.
All right.
And then yes, you will turn on Vin. The werewolf strikes with its claws. Single claw. Ooh, a 4. It misses. And then with a bite. Does an 18 hit your armor class, Vin?
Hell yes.
Okay. You are bitten for 2 piercing damage. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
It's a share the fun party.
Alright, where the hell is that?
It's on the other page.
Damn it, Daniel.
Sorry.
No,
It's
I just
okay.
wanted to check I just needed to check something before I made the roll, that's all.
It's just funny because he's not at all in the same room. We're all doing
19?
this online. Very nice, yeah. You feel as this sensation that you've never really experienced, but you've been bitten by things, you've slashed at things, been cut, and like you remember pain somehow. But this one, like, it's like there's anger in the wound. And it's the only way you can describe it. It's like a poison, but it makes you angry that it's even there.
Oh god.
But your Constitution saving throw is more than enough to it like wills it away as you like flex your forearm where he got you, or flex your bicep where he got you, and wince with the pain. It just pushes that like venomous anger just back out of you.
What the hell with you then? She'll attack him back.
And it is, yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Attack number 1. Where is it? Oh, it's down here. 15.
Oh, it's a hit.
And... oh, well, it's a 15 hit. It's an 18 hits, too.
Yeah.
Those two.
Are they still running?
Not really. He kind of turned, banked. You've got a pretty good eye line on him from where you're at. Nice, pretty clear shot through the trees.
16.
16 points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kelvin, you will take that in full. And you... boy, does this sting.
And I'll cast my Hunter's Mark.
Okay. Let me mark that with, let's see, Hunter's Mark we did with, I think we did with the heart. Check on this thing. Okay. And the beginning of your next turn, you will not regenerate since you were just damaged by a silver weapon.
Alright.
Alright, Vin, you attacked him twice. Anything else?
I cast my, good lord, Hunter's Mark.
No worries. Sorry, I forgot. Your Hunter's Mark. You're right. For your bonus. You still have your movement.
Well, we're kind of engaged, I believe.
True. I'm just making sure.
I don't want to give him an attack of opportunity.
Fair. He would have had to, I apologize, he would have had to step closer to hit you. So he
Yeah, I
moved in.
figured as much.
And yes, Kaidos, you can see he kind of banks, turns, and engages with Vin. Immediately gets stabbed for it. And yeah, there's a sting in that blade that you have never experienced either, Kelvin. You've kind of traded back and forth a little bit with Vin. And that's, you endured a lot through your training and through growing up. As a matter of fact, as the silver blade pierces you for the first time, your human brain you feel like you just got the wind knocked out of you. The wolf is very much recoiling in the same fashion, but it actually knocks you into what can only be described as like a dreamlike flashback, and I'll talk about that when we get back around to your turn. I just wanted to note that it happened as the silver hit you. And
So I can see this happening through the trees, right?
yes, absolutely. Yeah, you see these two
just-
engage.
I'm seeing them fighting, and I'm seeing people trying to light him on fire, and
It's out of love.
I yell at everybody to leave him alone! Let him be! Do not hurt him! He will come back to us! I have this, I don't know what you call it, but it's like, okay, knowing somebody who's not in their right mind or not in their right skin, being kind of ostracized, that impression of what could potentially be going on with him, I'm assuming, trying to find some way to relate to the situation and trying to get everybody to just not react,
Nice.
He's only attacking because you're antagonizing him! Leave him alone!
He attacked me first.
Kaidos, gain inspiration, please, if you didn't have it already. Because, that's awesome. Front of the money. Yeah, D, she just kind of looks guilty that she even got her weapon out. She's got this, oh, good point. And Rictavio kind of shakes his head, looks at you, but doesn't say anything.
But that makes sense with your background of wanting to control your own demons.
For sure, yeah.
I like it.
I love it. So Kaido shouts this from the top. D and Rictavio hold their actions. And, anything else, Kaidos, just before I move on?
No, I'm just
Awesome.
trying to convey that to people.
For
so
sure,
I take
yeah.
my entire turn yelling at everybody.
Leave Brittany alone! So Artesia, to you.
I kind of just look to Kaidos and say, do you want him to bite another? Do you want another werewolf roaming around here? I think this place has plenty of werewolves. Thank you very much. And I go a little bit farther into the woods. Let's see. Yeah, I can go here.
Okay.
And how close is that? 5. And range is 60 feet. Okay, I'm going to drop blur.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to hold person.
Interesting. Trying to hold person on the werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
Your magical knowledge tells you normally this wouldn't work. However, something else tells you this isn't normal. This isn't a lycanthrope like you've ever seen before, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and is it a saving throw on his part?
Yeah, wisdom saving throw.
Okay. It's going to be a wisdom saving throw, but I need you to make I would call this a caster level check, but I guess that's what this is. It's kind of like if you were doing it to spell magic. Okay, so yeah, proficiency plus your modifier there, your charisma modifier, plus your d20 roll. Sorry about that.
Okay. 21.
Very nice. Yeah. The the DC on this particular situation was actually 20, so you beat it by 1.
Oh.
And you watch as the werewolf goes rigid. Petrificus totalis doesn't, arms don't snap to the side, but in his lunging for Vin again pose, just completely comes to a stop.
Okay. I yell out, I promise I'm not doing this because I like it. I'm doing this to help you. Rictavio, get over here. And I just kind of hold my position.
Then I'll look over at Artesia and say, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I did not want to have to attack him again.
I didn't want 2 werewolves, so win-win.
All right. Kelvin. So you get stabbed by this silver blade, and then this magic washes over you, and despite me rolling fairly well for your werewolf self to resist it, it still overcame you. And it shouldn't have, for anyone who knows magic, because you're not a human right now, but you're very much still that in your mind, especially because right now you're 6 years old, and you're standing there holding a wooden sword for the first time. It's on your 6th birthday. You've finally been allowed to go out into the training grounds. And you have the feeling of being out of breath because you're standing over a peer of yours, somebody about your age. but this guy's a little bit heavier than you. It was expected that he would just kind of beat you into the mud, seeing as this was your first time out here. And there was a savagery in your instinctual defense with this stick that left everyone in the courtyard just stunned. Kid's bleeding from his temple, and your adoptive father, the commander, places his hand on your shoulder and just kind of gently pulls you back from him. And as he kneels down to look you in the eyes, much in the way of a dream will mess with your head or pull different aspects from different places, kneels down to look you in the eyes and begins to speak to you. You can't hear his words because they go like kind of fuzzy and Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 wah. And his eyes are a reflection of your own when you woke up the other morning. Solid amber, solid ambery gold that you can only see in a wolf's eyes. And then your mind kind of snaps back to reality, and you're stuck there, you and the wolf both together in this mind, stuck in your body. However, make another saving throw against that spell. What was the saving throw, Artesia? It was a Constitution or
Wisdom.
Oh,
Wisdom. Okay, yeah. Make another Wisdom saving throw. And your DC, Artesia?
15.
Ooh.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh. Welp.
The wolf bends forward as the magic kind of it's almost like a sound of breaking safety glass or plastic with a glass with a plastic sheet over it. It's like breaks and stops and crinkles, and then there's just nothing as far as the magic that was surrounding him and holding him in place. And however, he did miss his turn. That was at the end of his turn that he made that save. Vin, it is your turn as the werewolf breaks free of the spell.
Kelvin, stop fighting us! Head back towards the wagon. Please, don't make me attack you again.
You see none of that familiar recognition from before.
You big lummox. Well, shit.
What would you like to do?
He doesn't look like bloodied or anything, right?
No.
Okay, I'm attacking him again then.
Okay. You do notice that though his burns from Artesia had healed a little bit, when you stuck him with the silver, that healing seemed to cease. And the blade marks that you left on him also have not healed one bit.
I don't know what to do.
Hold your action for now.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
All right, Kaidos, you see Vin pause, though the werewolf seems to be breaking out of the spell. But Artesia cast a spell that didn't seem to harm him, just held him in place. And
Does she look like she's in danger? I mean, like, does it look like he's imminently about to?
kinda, yeah. He's got that look of like somebody pulling themselves out of webbing and kind of fighting to get to her.
Okay, hold on. Let me measure. Step of the Wind says you get a bonus action. Your dash action has a bonus action, and your jump distance is doubled for the turn.
Yeah, okay. You don't even have to make the check. Then you're just there with Step of the Wind, because you can just like hop off of there, land just on the other side of, or just like there in the center of the cross almost.
Yeah,
and just
I would hop off, and I would run like the wind. 85 feet later.
Damn.
Jeez.
Let's call you the Red Blur.
I'm there, and my action is to do a, what is it, melee weapon attack.
All right.
Let me see. Okay, is using a superiority die a bonus action?
No, I don't believe so. It just comes with the attack.
Kind of depends.
It says when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, which is what I'm going to do. Just my standard, I hit you with this quarterstaff weapon attack, right? It says you can expend one superiority die, which I have.
Right.
To, is it trip? Yeah.
Or like
you can expend to knock the target down.
And it doesn't say, like,
you expend one superiority die to attempt to knock the target down. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll.
Okay.
And if the target is large or smaller, it must make a strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
Okay. No, it doesn't sound like it takes an extra action to do, so you can absolutely do that.
Okay, because it's called a trip attack. So I'm going to do my quarterstaff.
Holy shit!
Damn.
Wow.
Suffice to say, it fucking connects.
Man, that's a bucket of quarterstaff.
And if I click this, yep.
All right, so what's the
Nice.
DC based on? His strength save.
Well,
The
it says,
damage?
okay, hold on. My superiority die is a. Do I roll it or do I just spend it as an item? It says you add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll.
Yeah, so you'd roll it.
Yeah. You roll a little bit more on there, yeah.
And I'm guessing
So-
that sets the DC? I don't know.
Okay, let's see. Here, I'll just do this.
Okay, there we go.
Because you can interpret. I don't know these rules.
Martial
I just know I want to do them. I
Oh,
want to do this.
Um,
I literally cut and pasted this straight out of the book.
Sure, yeah. I'm just trying to figure out, like, where would the DC come from? Must make a strength saving throw or be knocked prone. So, yeah, roll the superiority die. That's a D6 for you? I
Okay.
can't remember.
I believe so.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is. It's just, was it just R1D6?
Yes. Or,
No.
sorry, /R space 1d6, I think. Should do it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, okay.
Nice, okay. So that gives us a total of 13 plus 5 is 18. Kelvin will have to now make a strength saving throw. Kelvin, if you'd like to roll that. Okay, plus. Yeah, don't have any pluses from the werewolfism. So, 15. You are tripped. You go down. You are prone. And let us see. You notice as you hit him with the with just the bludgeoning quarterstaff, that like the damage it should have done, like that it should have broken a leg or something as you did this sweep. Just he seems completely unbothered by it. You're still able to sweep him. He still falls down, absolutely, but it's like the wolf Kelvin didn't even feel that. All right, sorry to derail for a moment. This is going to be much shorter than the amount of time that I wasted for my players yesterday evening. Essentially, I messed up on the trip rules, grappling rules, because I didn't look up what the DC should have been. And for more experienced players, you'll recognize this immediately. So, in short, what we did is as follows. Essentially, because of the match strength save, to retcon, the only thing we need to retcon is essentially he's not on his back, or he's not on his stomach. He's standing up. However, with those 2 dirty 20s, that being said, Eric, make a strength athletics check to try and avoid your wrists being bound. Okay, so it does not beat her dirty 20, so she has got your wrists tied. Blech. Sorry about that, everybody. My Brain is all in the narrative mode and not at all in the rules mode, and the rules are important to me, though, so... especially when it's the stuff which we have handled before. I should have refreshed myself on that, and I will make notes to refresh myself on rules like that may come into play before next session. So, Vin took her turn. Rictavio will run that direction on the road and look as though he's, like, looking for somebody down the bend of this road. Artesia.
I'm not getting any closer.
I wouldn't advise it.
I am going to hold my action to where if it looks like he's going to be running straight for me, I'm going to hold my action and hold a spell.
Alright, no problem. Artesia prepares to cast a spell should the werewolf advance. The werewolf's turn. Okay, strength athletics check first to struggle against your bonds. And, Vin, you will roll another strength athletics as well. Ooh, a 9 from Kelvin.
16.
Alright. Vin is able to hold... Basically, you've got the wrists bound together, but you haven't been able to tie them off yet. That'll be your next action.
Okay.
So he is still unable to struggle against those. Kelvin, make a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage, please.
Oh, that's no good.
Oh, dang, with a 12. Yeah, the wolf is very much in control of your body right now. And is just once out and is, snapping wildly at anything it can get at. But unfortunately is not able to connect, I don't believe. Let's see. Disadvantage.
And have I been stabbed lately, or do I need to regenerate?
You have not been stabbed lately, so actually you need to regenerate. Take 10 hit points back. You see the even the stab wounds from Vin's previous strikes begin to close up on the werewolf. And end of your turn. Let me roll percentage. Let me see something real quick. I'll be damned. Those bone percentile dice are they're just always very, very strange, okay? You all hear a very familiar
The ravens.
a raven.
The avian.
That's right. If you remember how he looks, which most of you do, because it wasn't too long ago, just a few days now, Davian's raven form, just this very ancient-looking bird, comes flying into view and lands near Rictavio's feet, kind of on top of this big satchel it was carrying, and turns into a naked old man who begins to untie the satchel and covers himself with the satchel, which is actually his rain cloak again, and hands Rictavio a scroll and has a scroll in his other hand as well. Let me get his token onto the layer token. Oop. He's in the wrong spot. Come here, you. Doop. He's over here by Rictavio. Add turn. Boop. Okay. I'll just put in 16 for that'll work. Shifting was his turn to Kaidos.
Okay, he's been snapping. He's been trying to bite people. I got to get this guy disabled somehow so that he doesn't harm himself or anyone else.
Right.
And so I am going to perform an attack action. So let's see if it hits. And okay. It doesn't say. Dang it. Okay. Let's just do this attack. Quarterstaff.
Yay.
And I'm going to spend a key point to do flurry of blows.
Nice.
Immediately after you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend a key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action.
Okay.
And it says whenever you, and I have open hand technique. Whenever you hit a creature with one of the attacks granted by your flurry of blows, you can impose one of the following effects.
Okay.
It must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone.
Nice.
So that was my attack. So now I'm going to do the unarmed strikes. I get to do 2 of those. So here's the first one.
Yeah.
Here's the second one.
Okay, the second one doesn't hit.
Doesn't it? Okay. So I did hit him. So he will have to take the dexterity saving throw, or I knock him prone with my open hand, 5-finger, elbow, shoulder, palm technique.
Very nice. Okay, so with a DC 15, make a dexterity saving throw, please, Kelvin.
Don't! Dumb!
I'm actually, I actually like the disadvantage because you've got your hands bound behind you.
That's what I just assumed that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's practically restrained at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. So you know that video where the guy like runs in to save his dog from the fighting kangaroos and just like squares up and fucking boxes him? This is exactly what fucking happens. Kelvin like whoosh, pop hits you with the quarterstaff and then just like goes to hit you, like goes to drop it and goes to hit you with the backhand, misses that one and just uppercuts you and you just it doesn't do any damage, but it completely throws you backwards onto your ass.
So you straight up showed me my ass? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Awesome.
And I'm assuming none of the damage actually. That's why I didn't cast it, because it doesn't resonate, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's not. It's non-magical nor silver, so that's awesome. But you knocked
Not
the
yet.
werewolf. You knocked the
Not
werewolf
yet.
prone. Not yet. That's very true. D kind of on her turn will actually kind of jump into the fray, dog pile on the dog, grab the other end of the rope and wind it around his ankles as fast as she can. Let's have another couple of opposed strength athletics checks. Oh, D rolled very poorly. And yeah, Kelvin, yours will be at disadvantage. Hers should be at advantage in this case. Still not great. She can't get your ankles. She rolled poorly enough. She's just like, you're kicking like mad. And she's like, but hold still, you big bloody fuzzy thing.
Like when your dog has something on its foot and it won't hold still so you can take it off.
Oh,
Exactly.
so annoying.
Exactly. All right,
Yes.
Ben. You're.
I'm this close to being domesticated.
Yeah, Vin, it's your turn.
So I've already got his wrists bound behind his back.
Yes, and he is. He's now again on his stomach after Kaidos knocks him backwards. You just kind of like follow him down and he'll, kind of policeman's takedown.
Okay, well, I'll try to finish the hog tie,
Okay.
and I'll go for his legs.
Yeah. Make it with advantage, and Kelvin with disadvantage again. Strength athletics. I like opposed strength athletics for this stuff. It's just simple. 11 from Kelvin.
23.
Holy shit.
That was a natural 20.
Vin's like, give me that rope, and just wraps it around his ankles and finishes up the hog tie, sure enough. and you have this really awkwardly flopping around werewolf on the ground in front of you. Rictavio begins making his way that direction. Artesia.
I'm just gonna hang back and still hold my action because again, I'm not getting anywhere near those teeth. But I'm also want to make sure that he doesn't run away, and I'm waiting for Rictavio, so I'm just gonna hold my action.
Okay. Kelvin, make a wisdom saving throw. Just straight this time. The wolf's body is now out of control of the wolf's mind. And with the wisdom saving throw, you gain control over the body, over your body again. You're hogtied. You cannot speak in your current form. But yeah, what would you like to do?
I'd like to look directly at whomever is in front. I imagine, like anybody I can lock eyes with.
Probably
Lock eyes
Kaidos, because
with.
I feel like Vin's still behind you holding the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Lock eyes, howl, and then hang my head in shame.
All right. Davian will make his way over, and I'll say at this point it's probably safe to say we're mildly out of initiative. Kaidos, the werewolf, seems to go limp in his bonds after howling in your face. Is there anything else you'd like to do as the two old men approach?
He is offering no resistance. He is not going to attack. What I would like to do is hold my action for the moment where it looks like the wolf may choose to bite, or, that I cannot hold it for a reactive action and take an action. Does that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I basically, if he starts to lunge at somebody, I'm going to take an action and stunning strike.
Excellent. Yeah, so you basically prep to knock his ass down again, should he try and wiggle out of his bonds.
It stuns him. He would be stunned till the end of my next turn.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, for sure. So you've got that prepped.
But I don't do anything yet. It's just if he were to all of a sudden like lunge at somebody or snap, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. So I imagine that's kind of how the whole party is at the moment, just kind of on tenterhooks waiting for the werewolf to try something.
I have tight reins.
Yeah, that you do. And since the wolf inside did not have control, he didn't strain against his bonds at all. It is on to Davian's turn. And Davian and Rictavio kind of make their way over, and they've been talking low to each other in that language, that bell-tone language you don't seem to understand. Davian is glaring. It looks like just daggers at Rictavio, like he's incredibly upset with him for something. And he comes over, unrolls the scroll. Yes, you do. Unrolls the scroll that he has in his hand and kneels down and just places his hand on Kelvin's forehead. Kelvin, can you tell me your hit point total after gaining 10 more hit points?
51.
Okay.
Damn.
I need to roll some dice. It's going to be a lot of dice. And a lot of praying.
Yeah. I had a feeling I knew what was going to go down, and so I didn't want to regenerate. But I ask if I regenerate.
That's fair. Holy smokes. Thanks, Dice. Appreciate that. Okay, so that's...
Because you roll them all at once, man. Roll one at a time.
No, that wasn't sarcasm either. They gave me pretty much exactly what I wanted. The scroll turns to ash in Davian's hand. As Kelvin, you slip into a deep, dreamless sleep. And the werewolf's body goes completely limp. And as sleep overtakes him, the bonds just fall away from Kelvin as his body reverts back to the bald headsman that you've come to know so well. And he's just kind of laying there in the tattered remains of his clothing. His armor is still serviceable, just, in its separate pieces out there in the lane, and still clutching the axe in one hand. Despite everything else being tired, there's a death grip on that axe. Davian stands up, glares again at Rectavio, and says, "Do what you have to do, old man, and then get out of my sight. You leave these people, and don't ever darken their doorstep again." And Rectavio just, without really much guilt on his face, like you would expect with an admonition in common like that you can all understand, that he should have had some flicker of shame or remorse on his face. And Rectavio kneels down and unrolls the scroll and places his hands on the sleeping paladin's head and begins whispering. What languages do you speak, Artesia?
I speak Common and Infernal.
Okay. Vin?
Common, Draconic, Elvish, Undercommon.
This is Draconic. It's a spell, but it's a lot of spells are spoken in Draconic.
Cool.
And while you're not intimately familiar with the arcane, anybody present is welcome to make an Arcana check. Kelvin, excluding Kelvin, sorry.
I figured Dreamland is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I got
a...
sorry. I got a 21.
Oh, damn.
And, 14 for Kaidos.
So, Kaidos, you don't recognize this. Vin, you're not sure what this spell is. All that you're hearing is, you hear snippets of Draconic words mentioning doors and walls and locks and passageways and time. Artesia, you on the other hand, as a flash of light goes off and you see that kind of earthworm scar on the top of Kelvin's head glow, and Kelvin, even in his unconscious state, seems to wince. His brow furrows and his eyes shut really, really tightly. And as the spell dissipates, you recognize that was a mind blank spell.
Whoa.
And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
No. Aww.